Did you know that science has already proven altered states of consciousness? From meditative state to peak mystical experiences. Your brain is literally shifting frequencies. Through brainwaves, you're not just thinking, you're tuning into frequencies, dimensions, and layers of consciousness. Neuroscience is now catching up and explaining through science what mystics have known for thousands of years. In this video, we're diving deep into the science and spirituality of brainwaves, what they do, how to work with them, and how they bridge you to the source. Your brain doesn't just process reality, it tunes into it. It acts like an antenna, constantly picking up and broadcasting frequencies. These frequencies are known as brainwaves, rhythmic electrical patterns produced by your neurons. Science can now measure how often these waves oscillate per second, using units called hertz and amplitude, usually measured with an EEG. And by studying these electrical patterns, researchers have been able to distinguish different brainwave frequencies, each associated with a unique state of consciousness. There are 5 primary brainwave states, each operating at different frequencies: beta, alpha, theta, delta, and gamma. Each wave reflects a different level of consciousness, and together they form the dynamic rhythm of your inner world. All brainwaves are active at once, but the predominant wave and the way they flow together is what creates your state of being. These waves are formed by neurons, the electrical receivers and messengers of your nervous system. Each time neurons communicate, they fire tiny bursts of electricity. When large groups of neurons fire together in rhythm, they generate a wave-like pattern. And this synchronized activity is what we call a brainwave. The speed of the wave, how often it cycles per second, determines its frequency, measured in hertz, with fast waves like gamma and beta, and slow waves like theta and delta. These waves don't just shape your mind, body, and mood, they are your tuning fork, your connection to reality. Now let us explore the depths of the 5 brainwaves. Beta brainwaves range from 12 to 30 hertz, and is associated with the waking state, produced by the conscious mind through thinking, processing, and analyzing information. It's a very fast brainwave ranging from 12 to 30 hertz. As this brainwave is associated with the external world and the sensory information. This is where we access the lower levels of consciousness on the Hawkins scale, reflecting fear, anxiety, and anger, associated with the element of air. Furthermore, you can split this brainwave into 2 sections, beta 1 and beta 2. Beta 1, ranging from 12 to 20 hertz, is associated with logical, productive, and external focus, the sacral chakra, and this is the beta that is supported by alpha and theta. Beta 2 is 21 to 30 hertz, associated with hyper-alertness and reactiveness. It's the fight or flight activation, and is associated with the root chakra. This is usually associated when beta is not being supported and is unstable. This is the primary state in which the vast majority of people live in, as this is their predominant brainwave with no support from alpha or theta. Alpha brainwaves, which range from 8 to 12 hertz, are produced when we are relaxed and detached from sensory information. Daydreaming and sensualizing is usually associated with high amplitudes of alpha. For example, when I tell you to bite into a sour lemon, your tongue begins to salivate as you imagine doing so. This is the result of the alpha waves, which allows you to experience that information. This brainwave is classically associated with meditation, as when alpha waves rise above beta waves as the predominant brainwave, this is what many people associate with meditation, mainly due to many stuck in the predominantly beta brainwave states. Alpha brainwave is also broken up into 2 sections, alpha 1 from 8 to 10 hertz and alpha 2 10 to 12 hertz. Alpha brainwave serves as a bridge between the conscious and the subconscious mind, as we can split the 2 variations into this, as alpha 1 is associated with the subconscious mind, introspective, empathetic, and harmonizing, like the gentleness of flowing water, and is associated with the heart chakra and the feminine yin and receptive aspects. while alpha 2 from 10 to 12 Hz associates with the conscious mind and focus, engaged in presence, like the water flowing with a purpose, like a raging waterfall carving into the earth, and is associated with the solar plexus chakra and the masculine yang and direct principles. Alpha would be associated with the element of water, with its link to dynamic flow and fluidity, adaptiveness, and memory. As alpha is a bridge of harmony, it reflects contemplation, inner peace, creativity, and positive emotions such as love, creativity, and confidence. Theta brainwaves range from 4 to 7 Hz and is associated with the dream state. These waves are produced solely by the subconscious mind. They are present during REM sleep and peak spiritual and mystical experiences, as this is linked with the hypnagogic state, a transition period between wakefulness and sleep. Theta holds all the keys to our karma, the traumas, memories, and blockages all stored in the subconscious mind. It is only alpha waves that can carry the information across the veil of the conscious and the subconscious. Beta and theta have no way of communicating with each other without alpha waves. Theta is also associated with the doorway of mystical experiences, also associated with imagination and visualization, and the element of fire, as theta is the sacred fire or the fire of the soul. And lastly, is associated with the throat chakra. Delta, ranging from 0.5 to 3 Hz, this is the slowest frequency of all 5 brainwaves, as this is associated with deep sleep and collective consciousness and the access to the void or stillness. This is also the frequency that is used for environmental scanning and radar. When you have that sudden feeling of an intuitive hit that there might be a threat or danger in the environment. Linked with the third eye chakra, this wavelength has been associated with the psychic abilities or siddhis, as this is the source of intuition. And in deep meditation, delta wave's slow frequency allows one to access stillness or the void, and going beyond the manifested realm into the unmanifested realm. This brainwave is associated with the earth element. The final brainwave state is unique compared to the others, as it starts where the beta ends at 30 Hz and goes as high as 100 Hz. Gamma brainwaves, also referred to as the transcendent state. This brainwave is most recently discovered in 1988 when scientists brought EEG devices into monasteries of Buddhist monks to measure their brainwaves while they are in meditation. And in shock to these scientists, these monks were producing brainwaves much higher than that were thought possible for the human brain, but while in a completely relaxed meditative state. As these scientists also found that the characteristics of these brainwaves were different than expected, as they know high beta brainwaves to be incompatible with the blissfulness and relaxed body being shown, thus knowing they have discovered a fifth brainwave state. This brainwave is only ever produced in high amplitudes when one is achieving higher states of consciousness. The conscious mind nor the subconscious mind is not really able to produce gamma waves, and so people often associate this with the superconscious. As this brainwave has been called the channeling state to yogis and other spiritual adepts, as this allows one to produce the frequencies and amplitudes necessary to communicate with higher knowledge. Furthermore, gamma brainwaves act differently than the other 4. As normally brainwaves are formed on one end of the brain and bounce back and forth, gamma waves move omnidirectional, radiating in concentric circles at a very high amplitudes and frequencies, called a sweeping wave or unifying waves, flooding the brain with energy, allowing to get into deeper states of absorption and the mystical states of samadhi. And studies have shown that tapping into gamma, you can learn 5 to 10 times faster than beta brainwaves. And this brainwave is associated with the element of akasha, space, and the connection to the crown chakra. Now that we have a good idea what each brainwave does and reflects, we can use David Hawkins' scales of consciousness to help map out where one is on the spiritual journey. We can see that beta 2 maps to the root chakra, associated with insanity on the David Hawkins scale. If someone's predominant brainwave is beta 2, then their range of the Hawkins scale is 20 to 75. Beta 1 maps to the sacral chakra, associated with sanity, If someone's predominant brainwave is beta 1, then their range is 76 to 150 on the Hawkins scale. Alpha 2 maps to the solar plexus chakra and is associated with empowerment, with Alpha 1 mapping to the heart chakra and associated with awakening. Once someone reaches the awakening stage and accesses love, opening the heart chakra, you can put an EEG machine on them during their waking hours, and the brainwaves will show them producing a higher amplitude of alpha waves than beta waves, 200, 1, and 350 on the Hawkins scale. Theta is mapped to the throat chakra, associated with illumination and authenticity. Once we get to the 351 to 500 range in the Hawkins scale, the EEG readout will have higher amplitudes of theta waves in addition to alpha waves. Delta is mapped to the third eye chakra, associated with the pure Tao, flow state, and mastery. We would see higher amplitudes of delta waves in the waking state, and we would place that person on the Hawkins scale around 501 to 700. Gamma is mapped to the crown chakra, associated with the singularity, channeling, and enlightenment. We would start to see high amplitudes of gamma, like the Tibetan monks in meditation, as one of the meditation masters during this study was always producing a moderate level of gamma even in his waking state, mapping this person on the Hawkins scale at 700 to 1000. What makes this even more interesting is that when scientists have done studies of brainwaves on children, we can see that when a child is born around the age of 0 to 2, there is a high amplitude of delta waves. The child is operating from the void, absorbing as much information as one can. Then, from the age of 3 to 6, there is a high amplitude of theta waves, as they are purely experiencing life from imagination, still in the subconscious mind, absorbing all the information like a sponge. Then from the age of 7 to 11 years old, there is a high amplitude of alpha waves. Then from 12 years old or above, unless someone discovers meditation, beta waves become the predominant brainwaves for the rest of your life. But if we go on a spiritual journey, we start to slow down our brainwaves, reverting back to these states of being, with science now mirroring the wisdom of many ancient traditions and enlightened beings, of becoming still and to be more like children. Now that we have explored each brainwaves and got a general understanding of how they work, I want to go deeper into understanding how brainwaves correlate to altered states of consciousness. It's not that one frequency being higher in amplitude creates your state, but it is the interplay of the brainwaves. So it's about the relationship between the brainwaves that show the altered state, such as alpha rising above beta to be the meditative state, delta at higher amplitudes meaning you are in the void state, with spikes or dips showing the inconsistency of maintaining states of beings, and a synchronization of all the brainwaves in which one enters deep harmonization of mystical absorption, otherwise known as samadhi. While gamma can occur in isolated spikes, for it to be sustained in high amplitudes, the synchronization of the other brainwaves, the balancing of the elements, must occur. Gamma emerges as the carrier wave of the coherence. Like when a choir hits resonance, a higher overtone is created. But gamma is also the force of synchronization. As once active, gamma begins to entrain and unify the rest of the brain, where the sweeping wave syncs the multiple brain regions. As gamma association to Akasha, the source element, the non-dual aspect in which it is both everything and nothing, the cause and the effect. So to harmonize and influence these brainwaves is the key to master the brainwaves and master altered states of consciousness. And to do so is quite simple, a teaching many mystical and esoteric traditions have been teaching all along. It is to master the breath. The breath is the conductor of your nervous system, i.e. the brain. As we can see, fast, shallow breathing activates beta, stress, thoughts, and separation, and slow, deep breathing brings in alpha, peace, flow, and presence, and subtle and retained breath invites theta and delta. And with synchronization and opening the door to gamma, the mystical states and psychic abilities, and even samadhi. To master the breath is to master the wave of consciousness, as it is all just vibrations. Now, not only does breath control the brainwaves, but so do other aspects, such as the eyes, as the eyes have a deep connection to the brain and the pineal gland. So we can do a technique called eye rolls to help stimulate the brain into different brainwave activations. Alpha eye rolls is moving the eyes up and down, and this activates alpha brainwaves. Theta eye rolls is moving the eyes side to side, activating the theta brainwaves. Circular eye rolls help integrate both alpha and theta. So doing all three in order can help the brain learn a new natural position of alpha and theta synchronization. Mudras, hand postures, is another way of activating brainwaves. Placing the palms together activates alpha brainwaves and sometimes theta, as it connects you to the back of the head and the subconscious mind. If stuck in beta brainwave overthinking, this simple trick will help one shift awareness to the back of the head. And having all the fingers touch, with the palms not touching, helps synchronize the brainwaves as well. And more specifically, it helps one express authentically. While having a whole hand touch in a prayer position will help one go into deeper absorption, and why many traditions have taken upon this sacred hand posture. And while there's so much more to be said about the brainwaves, that'll be it for today's video, as we will continue exploring this topic in further videos. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, leave any questions or topics you want me to talk about. Thanks for watching. Peace. Do you ever feel lost, confused about who you are, why you're here, and what your true purpose is? Do you feel disconnected, lacking the purpose, direction, or energy to do what you truly want in life? I know that feeling well because I lived it. But through that confusion, I discovered something powerful. The deeper meaning you're searching for is already within you. The problem is, most people are never taught how to access it. That's why I'm dedicating my life to help others reconnect with their true self, to understand what life is really about, break free from limitations, and master their energy. My name is Ellislhernandez. My journey began with a powerful awakening after a long period of depression and disconnection. And since then, I spent years diving deep into spirituality, science, philosophy, and energetic mastery. Through practices like meditation, yoga, qigong, holistic health, and a lot more, I've learned how to activate my energy, live in effortless flow, and follow my true passion. Now, I help others do the same. I work with people who are ready to break through, align their soul's purpose, and step into the most vibrant, awakened version of themselves. If that's you, I offer personalized one-on-one coaching to guide and accelerate your transformation. I also offer online courses designed to unlock your potential. And I have a YouTube channel filled with powerful insights to guide your journey. You don't have to stay stuck, and you don't have to keep searching. The path is already unfolding. Are you ready to step into the life you are meant to live and master your own energy? Click below to begin the journey today.